Okay, well, once again, welcome everyone to the BSMS information session. This is, I guess, our the spring version where we are expecting more juniors to be here and learn about it. So just as I said earlier, my name is Wahid Bajo. I'm the graduate director, and with me is Ms. Katie Yu, who's the graduate program coordinator. And together we are responsible for what we call the ECE Graduate Program Office. If you have to send me an email, please note this down. Don't send it to my personal email account because that would take even longer to get a response. The best thing is, though, if you send it to Ms. Katie Yu's email address, which is ECE grad program at SOE. So instead of grad director, change it to program, ECE grad program at soe.rutgers.edu. Okay, so the talk is going to be I'm going to just motivate the master's degree and just tell you some of the reasons that you may want to do a master's degree. And then talk about the combined BSMS option, why you may want to do that. After that, we'll switch over to a small panel, which is made up of Aditya and Ashwin, where they will answer some questions that we had given them. You can also ask them brief questions. And then we'll move on to the next steps of how do you want, if you are interested in the BSMS, how do you apply? What are the things that you need to be aware of? Okay. During any of this, if you have questions, please feel free to interrupt. I'll be happy to address them. Okay. So the first question is, why do you want to do a master's? And of course, 30, 40 years ago, people were very happy with even getting a high school degree and they were getting good jobs. And are we saying that now everyone should be getting, just like now we say everyone, it's better to get college degree? Are we saying everyone should be getting a master's degree? And the point is, no, that is not the case. For many of our students, BS in ECE alone is going to continue to serve a lot of purposes. So among the students, for example, that we get we graduate about 280 to 300 undergraduate students a year. And out of those, about 40, 50, 60, something like that number at any given time. I forgot the exact number. I think it's like currently 50 students that we have, right? 55 to be exact, right? That's in our BSMS program. So a large fraction are not doing the BSMS. It depends upon what your interests are. It is not an exhaustive list, but for some of you, there are certain reasons that you may decide, I don't want to end with a bachelor's degree. I want to go ahead and get a master's degree. And so one of the reasons for that is intellectual growth. At the bachelor's level, you were taught a lot of subjects, starting from PE1, DLD, digital electronics, digital signal processing, linear systems, whatever, right? And only in your last year, you started taking elective courses that specialized into what you were interested in. So there's a lot of ground that remains uncovered. And if you, during your final year of your bachelor's, you realize that you want to focus in a certain area and you just not have had enough courses in that, you really want to become an expert in that area, that could be one of the reasons, because at master's level, you really dig into a certain specific area, which we call specialization in our program speak, right? So that is one of the reasons for people to do masters. The other reason for doing masters is that at the bachelor's level, of course, the amount of knowledge you have gained is kind of limited, and the kind of jobs that you have access to are kind of limited. And depending upon the kind of job you have, I had the other day a student in my office come in and say that I have been doing this job where most of the stuff, it seems I'm acting as a sales engineer and doing documentation and stuff, and I just don't like that. How do I do more in-depth work in a certain area, right? And the student had done some special problems, and he felt like he wants to actually, in fact, wants to do a thesis to get even more knowledge. So it really depends upon, for some areas, you might have done learning on your own, and you might have been able to do things by yourself. But in other cases, a master's forces you to do learning in a specialized topic, which leads you to get jobs that are very specialized, that require you to have a knowledge base that you may or may not have access to when you were an undergraduate student. So that's another reason that some people do masters. Yes.
Unlike bachelor's, you're much more laser focused on what you want to do.
Yes, you should have. So we'll talk about the specialization path, where students basically need to know what you want to get into, or at least have some good sense. We can chat about, students come to my office where they discuss and go through different options and decide, I want to do this based upon whatever their interests are. Sometimes they don't always know, but they know what they don't want to do, and then we try to hone in onto the things that they could pursue. The other aspect of masters is that, and we won't ask Ashwin how much starting salary he's getting, right? But the general trend is that undergraduate students, their starting salaries, and master students, their starting salaries, they tend to have a gap, right? If you have really become good at when you are doing masters, you will end up with higher starting salary than bachelors. These are just three of the key reasons that I am mentioning. There could be other reasons, right? There could be, sometimes what happens is, and it has happened to a few of our students, where they had a sense of, I want to start my professional career in a certain kind of job, and if I don't get that job, then I'm going to rather do masters, because that will allow me to get that job. So it's somewhat related to the job satisfaction criterion that I've said. Sometimes again, it's related to this, that the starting salary is not what they were looking for, and they were like, okay, if I put in this much more investment, what do I get out of it, and so forth. So the reason is up to you. You have to answer that question. Okay. Once you have decided that masters is something that you want to explore, now you have different options. You can do masters in any of the, just like when you are applying for undergrad. So the question is, why do masters then at Rutgers? Well, you would do masters at Rutgers because you're already here doing your undergraduate, and so you get to be part of this BS-MS combined degree program, which allows you one of the best values for your time and money. So whereas in another university, you would start over, you would have to either take 18 months to 2 years, and you will have to pay a lot of tuition. Here, you can take advantage of some of the things. So the key phase here is, and if you are a junior, you want to pay attention to this, which is that when you properly plan for the BSMS as a junior, often you can graduate with only one more year of classes. So one more year is the time that we target. Now, having said that, you're not required to graduate in 1 year. Okay. In fact, people who do thesis, they sometimes take longer, because thesis requires doing original research. It requires doing original work, which sometimes is doable in 1 year, but sometimes it's not doable in 1 year. So first of all, I want to get this misconception out. Some people think that if they cannot graduate in 1 year, this program is not for them. That is not true. You can take longer, but the main point is that if you plan it properly, you can get out in 1 year. So one more year, you get out rather than going to another university. The department does offer, depending upon what your credentials are, I want to be very upfront about it, that there are 3 ways that you can actually earn money while being a master's student. Grader positions, they are easier to get. If you did a course with someone at the undergraduate level, you talk to that faculty, they can put you as a grader for that course, anywhere from 10 to 20 hours or so forth on a course, and the pay for grader is about $15 an hour, so you start earning that money. Teaching assistants and grad are more challenging. Both Ashwin and Aditya have, you have done one semester or?
Yes.
Yeah, so one semester, you are doing one semester, and they will tell you that it was not the easiest way that they were able to land that, right? They had to be persistent, they had to showcase their skills, and eventually, when an opening came up, we did give it to them, but there is no guarantee. Only a very small fraction of our BSMS students do get teaching assistantship. When they do get, it comes with a substantial money. Next year, don't ask, oh, why is this number higher? Because it's for next year, okay? Next year, the stipend for one semester is going to be $18,000 plus full tuition remission, plus your fees, plus if you have one whole year. So let's not talk about the healthcare benefits, but if you have one whole year. But having said that, this is a competitive thing. If you are interested in GA-ship, GA, graduate assistantship, happens if you are doing research with a faculty. Typically, students who do thesis are the ones who are eligible for that. Faculty give it to those people who are doing thesis. You have to showcase, you have to talk to the faculty and say, I'm interested in doing research. Here are my passions and things like that. And only they can offer you that GA-ship. So this is sort of like level of difficulty. They are written in level of difficulty. Graded position is easiest to get. TA, the next order, GA is the hardest because you have to really commit to being a researcher, okay? The other, though, there's still money benefit. First of all, you are going to Rutgers. If you are a New Jersey resident, you are, for that 1 year, you are going to pay in-state tuition. Plus, the dean's office will give you $1,000 scholarship one time. That will also take away some of the money off. So effectively, if you just talk about it, right, ballpark, you can say that you probably can graduate. You get a master's degree with about $17,000-$18,000 more investment for one more year, as opposed to you go to any other university where it will easily take you $30,000, $40,000 to get the master's. In addition, you are going into a new environment and all those things, right? There are additional benefits that I'm not sure if either one of you took advantage of that, but one of the other things is, right, that you can actually get, being a master's student at Rutgers, you can get up to 3 courses from Princeton University, their graduate courses, which count towards your master's at Rutgers. This is without paying any additional tuition. So you pay Rutgers tuition, but you get to take Princeton courses. This is only for the graduate level. At the undergraduate level, you do not have access to this, okay? This is called the Rutgers Princeton Exchange Program. And effectively, you get to work, to take courses with some of the brightest minds without paying whatever the Princeton tuition is, right? Or without having to apply for them. So effectively, 9 of your credits can come from Princeton. If you were, of course, you have to commute and all that. We help you figure out how to enroll in that. Yes.
I think we have the train.
Sorry?
I think the train station.
Yes. I mean, if you are a trained person, sure. You know. Okay. So how do you go towards 1 year of? So if you decide, so the first step is, do I want to do masters? Okay, the answer came up yes. The second is, do you want to do the BSMS program? Okay, you said yes, I want to do that, but I want to stick to 1 year. There are many ways. If you are a junior, you plan ahead. So the requirement to a 1-year degree is you get a master's degree if you complete 30 credits with a GPA of 3.0 or above. So here are some different scenarios. I am going to base this on the assumption that recommended course load for graduate students is 9 credits per semester. Typically, what I tell students is that you should think of 1 credit at the graduate level as 1.5 credit at the undergraduate level. In particular, graduate courses are project heavy, and in the last month or so, graduate projects just pile up. So you don't want to be, and these two folks will talk more about that, but you don't want to be taking so many courses that don't barely have time to sleep or eat, okay? So we take 9 credits. That 9 credits is considered full-time at the graduate level. So this, for this typical, if you were to just start new, you are not a BSMS student, you would have to do 3 to 4 semesters of enrollment. But if you are a BSMS student, then the reason you can finish in 1 year is because you, in your senior year, take more courses. And if you, then what you need for graduation. And then up to 12 of those unused undergraduate courses. The key phrase here is unused. They cannot be applied towards your undergraduate degree, but we will take undergraduate courses. So our new graduate student who comes into our program, we don't allow them to take undergraduate courses, but you can have 12 more undergraduate credits and count them towards your master's degree, as long as those credits have to be special. They can't be internship credits. They can't be capstone credits. They have to be course credits, okay? And they have to be related to your area of studies. So for example, philosophy won't count. Nothing against philosophy, but we can't transfer that, right?
What if it's towards the ECE, but not towards your specialization?
No, it doesn't matter. You cannot double count it. The whole idea is you are getting 30 credits of extra education.
Oh,
We can't give you a master's degree where you use 12 of those for undergraduate, and then the requirement of giving a master's degree by state is you have to have taken 30 credits. Okay, so it cannot have been used for your undergraduate. Yes.
So do these 12 credits count as only 9? Since like
No. No. That's what I'm saying. These 12 credits count as 12. If you took 12 more credits while you were an undergraduate, and you look at your degree navigator, it's under your unused portion. You have 12 credits. They have to be 400 level and above, by the way, right? If they are math, we accept 300 level also. But CS, EC, we require 400 level and above. If you see them in your unused portion, basically, effectively, you have started towards your master's degree. Okay? Yes.
Wait, so you also accept math classes?
Yes, we accept math classes of 300 level and above.
I'm curious, would they still count if they go towards a minor?
Minor in math?
Yeah.
We can accept up to 9 credits if they were used towards a minor. But in your ECE program, they should still be unused. Okay?
Thank you.
Okay, so how then this work? Let's say that you end up getting 12 credits in your undergraduate. So you already have gotten 12 credits now. You need only 18 more credits. So sorry, back up. You are starting your senior year and you need only 18 credits to graduate with a bachelor's degree. Okay? You need only 18 credits to graduate with a bachelor's degree. What you could have done is take 9 credits per semester, but rather than that, you start enrolling in 15 credits per semester, and that will give you 12 additional credits in your senior year. And those 12 additional credits, you basically then transfer to your master's. Another scenario is, this is kind of very few people have this, but many of you may be finishing your junior year with maybe needing 24 more credits to graduate, right? So instead of doing 12 credits per semester, you do 15 credits per semester. That will give you 6 credits from undergraduate that you transfer towards your master's. You can also then do 2 summers of 4 credit internships. At the master's level, we have a 4 credit internship program. Each internship can give you 3 credits. The rules are a little bit different than undergraduate, so you have to talk to us so that we can guide you what you need to do. But sometimes what undergraduate students do is they graduate, then summer immediately after that, they do a 4 credit internship program. That's 3 credits. So now they have 6 plus 3, 9. They take 9 credit, and then they do one more summer of internship, 3 credits. So again, they finish in 1 year technically, only 2 semesters of courses. Another way of doing this is, instead of internship, if you want to do that, you of course overload your semester. You do 18 credits per semester, then you end up with 12 credits extra, and you apply those 12 credits. So there are many different permutations that you could carry over, and when Ashwin and Aditya are here, you can ask, they can tell you what were their combinations or whatever they did to graduate in 1 year. So what are some additional benefits of being a BSMS student? Actually, it's a no-brainer. Most of you should be applying if you have any intention that you may become a master's student. The reason is you don't have to take GRE. You do not have to pay any admission application fee. So there's no application fee. You don't have to write any admission essay. And depending upon your GPA, you may not need any recommendation letters. So depending upon your GPA, it's the easiest application for a master's program that you can have for any master's program. The criteria for what you need to do to not have a recommendation letter, we'll come to that later. So now the idea is, well, you may be interested in a master's BSMS program. I've described you how you can accelerate it. And now what we can say is actually talk to people who have actually done the BSMS. Technically, I'm saying done. They're still here doing in the spring semester, but they have filed their paperwork. So technically, assuming they don't flunk in any classes, right? They should graduate. So let me just introduce again Ashwin. He is doing MS in ECE with a concentration in computer engineering. He got his bachelor's in spring 2023, and he is expected to get his master's in spring 2024. While finishing this, he also ended up getting a certificate in cybersecurity, or he will get a certificate in cybersecurity because when the paperwork goes through, he did get a TA for with Professor Kristen Dana, and he transferred 12 credits into the master's program. So he will tell you later what for the 2 semesters, what was his course load, right? Because he needed only 18 credits to graduate. Okay, then we have Aditya here. He also is doing MS with computer engineering, and he has just decided to actually continue with PhD with Professor Dana and file the paperwork for that. He also graduated in spring 2023, expecting a master's in this semester, also doing cybersecurity certificate. And he was just appointed as TA for programming methodology 1. He's also doing special problems, Professor Bo Yuan. He transferred 6 credits, so he will tell you what was his course load like, because he had to do 24 credits to graduate. So I'll ask Ashwin and Aditya to come and sit in front of you, and I'll hand it over to Katie to lead this discussion. So we have some Q&A sessions, but and I'll move them as whatever Katie decides.
So let's start off with each of you telling me a little bit about yourselves and why you decided to do the ECE program at Rutgers and the BSMS program specifically. Do you want to start first, Ashwin?
Sure. Hey, I'm Ashwin. As I was about to mention, I'm doing a master's in computer engineering. I graduated this past May, right? I landed multiple internships at different companies during my time. And right now I am interning at Lockheed Martin as like a software engineering intern. That's my official title, on class title at least. But the reason I personally wanted to join the BSMS program because it's only 1 more year, and it just made sense. 1 more year, I can just finish my master's off versus other universities 2 years, more money. I also had $1,000 scholarship, so it was a good incentive for my bank account to do the master's program here versus other places. But yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah, I mean, he covered a lot of it, but, yeah, I'm Aditya. I finished my bachelor's last spring, May 2023. And I did the master's program. So over the summer, I worked at Siemens, and those guys also kind of were also telling me, you should look for your master's. It's, for continue your education, and I always wanted to as well. So, and then you have the BSMS program, as Professor Bajwa showed. It's very simple, very seamless to continue. No GRE, no extra admission fees. Yeah, and I could do it in 1 year. So yeah, it was a lot of benefits of doing continuing here. It was pretty simple. So yeah, I just decided to continue, get my master's done, because a lot of people do it in the long run. And I thought rather than, wait a few years in industry and then come back, it's probably best to do it all in one go.
This is going slightly off script, but you have both recently done internships. Can you talk about how your internship experience complemented your academic experience and vice versa?
Yeah, so I worked at Siemens. Those guys, I was actually the only one there who was not either a master's or a PhD student, which was very surprising. And I talked to a lot of people in the industry, just like I wanted to know what's like best for my career. And a lot of them really enforced the idea that, you should really specialize in, and technically in like computer engineering world, you should really specialize in what you're interested in so you can go further. So yeah, like I said, a lot of people that were interning there, they're already either in a master's program or in a PhD program. And I think the reason I even got selected ever was because I told them that I was planning to pursue a PhD after I finished the internship. So yeah, a lot of emphasis in the industry to continue your education. And yeah, I decided the best bet would be to just continue with this program.
For me, again, my internships were mainly in the software field, so computer engineering. They're my past internship. Well, current internship at Lockheed Martin. It's like obviously it's a defense company, so security was a big thing, and they definitely influenced me to think about doing a security certificate. And I know that Rutgers offered a cybersecurity certificate, so I was like, why not? I already had 3 out of 4 classes done. I just need one more class, and that last class I needed to take was elective, which was offered. So I decided to just take it and finish off the certificate. And then my plans for future is possibly get a certificate in cybersecurity, an actual certification with the exams and all, but that's something a lot of people pay for.
That's a great perk.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So I feel like well, I'll ask the question anyway. Do you think are the key benefits of the BSMS program from your perspective?
So, well, obviously, yeah, you could, it helps in industry, if you want to go further on. It's a lot of people, like I said, I know a vast majority, they come back for a master's long run, like a few years later on. So I would say it's best to just do it in one go. And also there's extra perks. I know Professor said it's rare and it is very hard to get, but I would say, being a TA or GA, that experience you really won't find anywhere else. I don't think it's possible to have it as an undergrad. But yeah, it's something I really wanted to experience as well. So I didn't think I would be able to do that as an undergrad, which was a small perk that I wanted to see if I could do that as well.
Some of the key benefits that you already hit on, but like again, the seamless transition between bachelor's and master's, right? It's only one more year as well. And like my parents told me that if you leave academia, right, come back in a couple of years, you might not have the same mindset possibly. So it just made more sense for me just to finish it off because as the Professor Badger mentioned, I only needed 18 more credits, I believe, just so that's basically like 6 more classes versus as obviously the undergrad I took more classes each semester. So classes just made sense for me just to finish it off and follow what my parents said, at least.
How did it work for you when you were in your senior year getting credits before actually entering your master's program? Both of you transferred in credits. How did that happen for you?
Yeah, so for me, my fall semester, I think I took around like 22 to 23 credits, I think. But most of the credits were like electives or some other classes I took, which like were where I took I think a 3 or 6 credit internship class. So like that knocked it down to only 19 credits. But I made sure to take some certain classes in the CS department, ECE, that will count over for it. And then that's how it was. I think I took 22 in the fall. In the spring, I think I took like 15 or 16. So not as much as 22, but it's a little bit lighter, and I was able to like finish off with 12 credits.
I also had to overload my credits. So, but yeah, I mean, my situation I would say is a little more uncommon. I actually did my bachelor's in 3 years, so it was like pretty packed throughout. So I was already pretty used to having heavy course loads. So it wasn't that difficult. I was pretty used to having like a lot of classes every semester. But yeah, for my last year, I was expected to take about 15 credits. But once I was interested in doing the BSMS, I also maxed that out. I actually went all the way up to 24, but I had to withdraw from the class because it was way too much even for me. But yeah, and that's also another reason why I did the BSMS. A lot of my friends that were in high school, some of my friends are here actually, who are doing the BSMS. A lot of people that I met here, met here are finishing their senior year now while I'm still here. So I didn't want to, graduate before them with people I didn't really know. So yeah, but that's like a pretty like uncommon scenario. But yeah, that's what it is.
Question, so what's the minimum number of credits you take per semester as a grad student?
Minimum per semester.
To remain full-time, 9. But if you have, in your last semester, if you need less than 9 credits to graduate, you can take less than 9 credits.
Well, you can take 12 one semester and 9 the next 2 semesters, right?
Yes, you can also do that. Okay. So why would you recommend the program to students considering other options? I feel like you've touched on this a little bit.
Yeah, no GRE, no application fee, $1,000 scholarship you get. You also continue in the same environment. I'm assuming a lot of us are like in-state or from around here, so getting up and moving to a different place for only 1 year, it's not the most ideal. You also know the faculty, so if you change your mind like me and want to continue even further, do a PhD, you'll be in the same, or like you'll know the faculty better if you've been here for longer. So, yeah.
There's not much for
Yeah.
me to say apart from what you mentioned.
So one of the things people had questions about here was doing thesis. And I know you didn't do thesis, but you did research with people or faculty.
Yeah.
Could you tell us about your process in finding faculty to do research with?
Yeah, so for the special problems, I think it's a little easier, just like how you kind of get started. I would say you go to professors, you can show them what you're interested in. And Professor Yuan was, nice enough to have me on a call and talk about my interest. And he was like, yeah, they align. I have this thing that I'm working on. Would you want to help for credit? I was like, yeah, sure. That's how I already got started. And for Professor Dana, it was pretty similar. I told her I was interested in certain topics and she agreed that it matches up with what she's looking at and what she wants to do. So, yeah, I would say if you're looking for research or, or for your thesis, you first have to really hone down what you're interested in researching, what you want to do, and then try to find a professor at Rutgers, which you most likely will, that, specializes in that or is doing research in that currently. The ECE website, I think by each faculty it lists like what their research interests are. That's a good place to start, I would say. Or, professors that you've taken your courses with, they're also a good bet if you're looking for research opportunities. That's how it happens.
I guess for a little bit of context, if you want to do thesis, it's not like you come to the department and say you want to do thesis and then you're assigned an advisor. It's the student's responsibility to find an advisor and to find an advisor whose research interests match with you. And so that's the process that you two talking about.
Yeah.
And as my final question before we turn it over to the group is you both obviously took lots of credits as undergrads, but how are the actual courses in a master's program different from the courses in a bachelor's?
So yeah, I think Professor Bajwa also touched on this a little bit. I would say undergrad classes are a lot like test-based, they're focused on, you learn this stuff in class and then you're tested on it in a midterm or a final, or, just quizzes and stuff. For grad classes, it's more project-based. You have to apply what you've learned in in a group project. Most of the time, you have to implement something. Um, which is definitely like a different, very different. It was a little hard to adjust, but it's definitely I would say it's better for like understanding the topics, because you get to do your own implementation, you get to do your own research. So yeah, I would say it's a lot of like learning on your own and implementing on your own, rather than taking what's there and taking exams on it. That's what I would say. Like that is the main difference between a graduate education and like an undergraduate education. Undergraduate is all like, this is what's the base, you should know this, learn it, and take exams on it. Graduate is like, here's what we know, you should implement what you think and try out, some new implementation, new ideas.
What do you think?
I'll say the same thing when you mentioned, as you know, like obviously the graduate degree is only 30 credits, obviously the 15, right? Undergrad, 15 credits, most people take, I think the SOE average, I believe, was most people take 15 credits. Some people take obviously like 18, 19, right? But like most people take around 15. So you would think as an undergrad, oh, 15. I took it as it should be pretty easy. It's not. 15 credits is 5 classes. 12 credits is like the minimum for undergrad here, right? Versus 9 credits is full-time here. So there's that 5 difference, as well as here classes, right? The grad, as you mentioned, is mostly like group projects, final projects. You'll like spend more time into, you have to write research papers, so it'll take more time than versus like studying for an exam. Studying for an exam, you could theoretically obviously spend like a week or two, but a research project, a final project, final paper, you're gonna spend like at least 2-3 weeks on. So you'll take more time on your classes as a grad and undergrad personally. At least that's how it was for me when I was thinking about projects wise.
Yeah. Oh, no, I was gonna say, it's like the classes, like, yeah, it's a good point Ashwin made, like, it's 9 credits full time, like, when I heard that as an undergrad, I was like, what, 9 credits for a full semester? I wish. But yeah, I'm taking 12 credits each semester because I only brought in 6. So yeah, it is a bit of a jump, but it's only really like, if you understand the topics and if you're interested in them, that's really the main focus of a graduate program. You find what you like and then you implement what you think about it, to try to change it.
What questions do you all have for them?
One of you is doing a PhD after, right? It's like 2 questions, so I'll word it individually. How would you say that the 1-year master's has helped you on your path towards a PhD?
So initially I did not want to do a PhD. It was a pretty recent decision, because I found a really good program here after. And yeah, the masters actually, what I would say, like, one, it opened, it helped me learn about how it is to study as a graduate student. Like I said, it's not, taking tests and quizzes and exams. It's like more project-based, learning on your own, reading a lot of papers. So that definitely helps in prepping me to be a better PhD candidate. So yeah, I think the biggest would be, it helps you like learn what it would be like to be a PhD student in the future.
Okay, and then my second follow-up, which you might not be able to answer, is there any benefit for like one way or the other to write a thesis in the master's program if you want to do a PhD, or does it not really matter which path you choose?
So I'll jump in and address that. So if you know for a fact that you are doing PhD, you are going ahead with a PhD, what happens is that many of the PhD students basically use a part of the research that they were going to do anyways and turn that into a master's thesis. So that is one thing that happens. The other thing that happens is that actually, I mean, Aditya was able to make a commitment right away, but for many students, they'll say like, I want to first understand, because remember, PhD is a 5-year-ish commitment, right? And a master's thesis is at best a 2-year-ish commitment. So they are like, you know what, I want to start on this journey and I want to feel how it ends up being, and maybe I'll continue for PhD or not. So some people use it as at that way also. There's a third group of people who also use the thesis, not necessarily because they are going to do PhD, but basically because they want to get into roles that are more R&D focused, and they would not get them with a course-based master. So those are sort of different ways, but for PhD, people do thesis for different reasons.
Thank you.
What other questions do you have?
Did you take any like grad courses in your undergraduate years? The two of you? Yeah, I did. I took Intro to Deep Learning. So like that was a topics in EC course, I believe that's the term it's called. Yeah. Topics in EC course is like a cross-disciplinary course. So like grad students take it, undergrad students take it. If I'm not mistaken, the grading I think is the same, or like maybe for grad students it's just a little bit like more heavier on the product side. I forget exactly what it was, but like that was a course I took senior spring semester, and that gave me into like some of the insight of how like a grad course will be, and like how pressure
And like, as you said, it's like more project focused.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's a few grad courses, like even classes that I'm taking right now have some undergrads in it. But yeah, a good point is actually so some classes that are like cross-listed for both grad and undergrad, they actually have like two syllabi, or it's like one for undergrads and some for the grad students. So yeah, like one example I can say is like I took sustainable energy last semester. And for the final project, it was like undergrads can be a group of 5, but grad students can only be a
No,
group
I
of
took
2.
that class, yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Like, do you need like special permission to take graduate?
No, they're just like listed. You can register for it. I think if you need permission, you probably get approval from.
Well, there are two types, right? You can, if a course is cross-listed, you can enroll in their undergraduate section, in which case you don't need any permission. But if you want to enroll in their graduate section, then you do need an SPN as an undergraduate student. If you have been admitted as a BSMS student, then you can enroll in that. You still need SPN, but very easily. Otherwise, you need a permission from the instructor saying they are going to let you enroll in the graduate side. Just a few key distinctions. For example, at the graduate side, the lowest grade is C. There's no D, right? So the grading criteria that we use at the graduate side, even if when you enroll in the graduate section, is different, and also the syllabus is different. The requirements are different. Sometimes we give them extra work. Sometimes we say project has to have different requirement on what you need to achieve, and sometimes we'll grade it differently also.
Like credit wise, is like the graduate version more beneficial, or are they the same?
It really depends upon what you want to get out of it. But one of the benefits of the BSMS program is that you can enroll in the undergraduate version and still count it towards your master's degree. A master's student, for example, who comes from outside cannot enroll in the undergraduate section. So you have because we assume that you are taking that course while being an undergraduate, we let you enroll in the undergraduate section and get credit. Effectively, that's one of the ideas. Otherwise, you enroll in the graduate section, your workload will go up and you won't be able to sustain the same number of credits, right?
Okay, I have
another thing is if you're like if you know you're gonna be a BSMS program, you can take the grad version of class, and that won't count as part of the 12 credits you're transferring in. So that's like something like, obviously that's what I did. I took deep learning as a grad, so that's 3, but I still had 12 undergrad credits. So 12 plus 3 was 15. So I got like technically transferred in 12, but technically at the start of my master's degree in like September 23, right? I had 15 out of 30 done.
Okay.
That's just like a key point, but there is like, it's not a restriction-ish, but like some topics in EC courses are only like, you can only register as like a junior or senior. I don't remember exactly if you were a sophomore or freshman, but that's something to keep in mind when you're just, it's not a restriction, but something like it's there.
I have another question. When did you guys like apply for the ESE? Is it like senior year?
Yeah,
fall?
it was senior fall, but I think the website can kind of say where you should apply.
We will talk about that. That's
Okay,
the next,
okay.
yeah, application, we'll talk about that.
I was summer 22. Like I think I applied sometime in May or June. I got my admission in July, I think of 22. Check my email, but I'm pretty sure that it was June to July when I got my admission.
You're one of the late admins. Any other questions?
On average, if you apply, what is their chances of like getting accepted versus rejection? I'm just curious.
I will turn that over to Professor Bajwa because I am not part of the admissions committee.
Yeah, so I mean, what we are looking for is which specialized, so there are different categories. We'll talk about that when we talk about the admissions thing, go over that. That's
Any other questions? Please do. Okay, thank you guys so much. Let's give them a round of applause.
If you need to head off, that's totally fine. Thank you so much. Okay. Okay, so let's then continue, which is if any of that sounds interesting, you are interested in what to do next. The thing is that you need to, as we discussed, as the panel also discussed, the first thing you have to figure out is decide on which courses, undergraduate courses you will have unused. So which are the extra courses you will take, okay? And you need to plan that by talking to your undergraduate director and the graduate director. You can come to my office hours. They are on Tuesdays, typically undergraduate director office hours. You can figure that out. You have how you plan that is a function of which specialization you want to do, okay? So we have 7 specializations at the master's level. We have communication, signal information processing, machine learning, which started from this year, systems and controls, computer engineering, software engineering, and this one which has now a new name, it's called now electronic devices, circuits and systems. Okay, so this specialization will have a new name starting from next year, electronic devices, circuits and systems. Now, sometimes we have students who say, my interests are varied enough that they don't fit in any one of them. The typical case of that is when I have students who are interested in both, let's say, robotics and machine learning, or computer engineering and machine learning, or things like that. So we do allow for a custom-built specialization. You can pick a couple of specializations. You have to get a pre-approval from us. You have to discuss what is it your goal. You have to come up with a course plan similar to the specialization. You have to say, this is my goal, this is what I want to do in my career. Based upon that, this is my course plan. If we approve it, you are good to go with that. Okay, so in terms of then, if you want to apply, you should apply in your senior year. We start accepting applications from seniors around the middle of November. An email is sent out by Ms. Katie Yu, typically, saying we are accepting applications. Before that, between now and this, we are there will come a time where we'll start accepting applications for spring 25, because we do have some students who graduate off cycle, right? So for them, we will have a window, and then middle of November, we close that window and we move over to the next fall. So we start accepting applications, and typically end of December, we start doing initial admission decisions. And then between January and August, people can apply. We recommend you apply early, because that our course planning for next year is a function of which students are coming in which specialization. So if you apply too late, we don't account for those students, and then you may not find the right courses. If we don't have students in a given specialization, we are not going to offer courses in that specialization, right? So, but we do a continuous review. Typically, it takes when a person applies, you can comment on. Typically, I presume it takes about a month for them to get a decision, right? So that's typically the time frame. And as Ashwin said, he actually was one of the late applicants, but so sometimes those things happen also. We understand that. But if you are interested in putting your name in the hat for TA position, then you must submit your application by March 1st. In fact, the earlier, the better. For TA positions, we do need recommendation letters. And so the recommendation letters must have come in by that time also. Sometimes we keep your name in, and you, like, again, picking the example of them, they did indicate they are interested, and they only got the TA offer in spring, not in fall. But you have to submit these stuff early if you are interested in the TA position. So the process of application is very easy. You go to this portal, the Salesforce portal, and you start your application, but you don't submit it. That's very important. Please do not submit the application. You don't even have to complete it fully. This is these steps are also listed in, by the way, the flyers that are out there, so you can just use them. You complete the first 3 sections, which are just basic demographic information and name and stuff, and then just print out that as a PDF. Some students even send screenshots because PDF don't work, whatever. Then you use, that is your effectively application. That's it. Your application is you send that, your transcripts, and we don't need official transcripts. No need to spend money on that. Okay? Your transcripts, you tell what is your specialization area, and you send it to Miss KDU. Okay? You send it to ECE grad program at soe.org. That completes your application, depending upon whether you needed recommendation letters or not. So if your GPA is higher than 3.7, you don't need recommendation letters. You do need them if you are interested in TA position. If you are interested in TA position, you need 2 letters, and they should come from faculty within our department who can comment on your abilities. Someone from like a resident assistant won't be of much value to us for your skills as a TA. If you're not interested in TA position, your GPA is above 3.2, you don't need any letters. So if you submit this and your GPA is above 3.2, your application is complete. Okay, that's it. You only an email, your application is complete. End of story. You just wait for an email then from our program saying whether you have been admitted or not. If your GPA is between 3 and 3.2, we need 1 letter. So if your GPA is between 3 and 3.2, your application becomes complete when you submit that, and someone else has to send. You cannot forward their letter to us. Some faculty has to send their letter, ask them to submit to this email address. If your GPA is between 2.8 and 3, then we need 2 letters. These cutoffs are approximate. So for example, if you have like 3.196, that's like 3.2, okay? If your cutoff is like, 2.76, we are going to assume we will round it up to 2.8. If your GPA is below 2.8, we expect that you have to have a strong case to say why, something must have, you have to have extenuating circumstances. You had a major life event happen, right? And then, so the best case in that case is come to me, talk to me, discuss and convince us that, because we don't the point here is why this, right? The point here is graduate courses are rigorous courses. The GPA you need to get a master's degree is 3.0, right? What we are worried is if you couldn't manage your coursework at the undergraduate level, how will you do that? We are though still looking at trajectory. Maybe the first 2 years were bad for you. Maybe the COVID was the issue, right? Everything gets blamed on COVID. We'll do that. We'll happily do that for at least a few more years, right? And then, but it start getting better. So what we don't want is that we have to dismiss you from the program. We don't want that. That's the reason. But we are open to, if you say like, here were the things that were happening in my life, that's what it caused it, here is my thing. We may wait for a few more semesters of grades, and we say, okay, sure, we'll take you in. So the question was, what do we look at? We look at basically your ability to succeed in the program. We hate to see anyone being put on probation. We don't want anyone to be dismissed from the program. So what do we look at? When you say, my specialization is X, Y, Z, I'm gonna go and see, the admissions committee is looking at how did you do in courses in that specialization? Okay, if you say my specialization, I want to do the electronic devices, circuits, and systems, and every course related to that has a D in it, it doesn't matter what your GPA is, because your GPA was high because you took, those easy A classes, but the classes that matter, it's hard for us to imagine that you would be able to manage the coursework at the master's level. On the other hand, your GPA could be bad, right? Because let's say you hate programming, PM1, PM2, or whatever other course, your grades are horrible, you are getting Ds, but you love electronics and you are killing it, right? Okay, your GPA is low, but on those courses, you are doing really well. That's what we are looking at. Okay, so that's what determines whether you get in or not. If you are in the range where you need letters, we are then looking for that person. Here is my specialization. That is where you say, I want to do specialization in this, like say control system. The best idea is you did well in that, you get a course and you say like, a faculty saying, look, this person really put in an effort in my course was difficult, they really did well. The GPA might be low, but I believe they can succeed in the master's. That's what we are looking for. Okay, so that's pretty much it. I'm pretty sure that you have a lot of other things that will pop up in your head. The main thing for this information session is start planning now. If you start planning for a BSMS in your end of senior year, you are too late. You're not taking advantage of what would allow you to have an accelerated master's. Okay. So with that, I'll happily take any questions.